Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to yoga in my apartment. So I wanted to finally get a full-length yoga practice in here today for you and myself. I've been nesting along with a lot of other people, getting things cleaned up, cleared out, and moved forward in our own confined little spaces. So today's practice is all about moving big and outside of that space. This practice today will be a yoga vinyasa flow. It is intended for people who have experience with yoga, and so I will be giving instruction while we go, but we'll try to keep it moving and expansive and open and allow that breath and that movement to really get some energy flowing up and out of us. I know many of us are feeling very confined and cooped in, and so this practice today is intended to really just burst out of that as much as possible, getting some energy working up from our base and our grounding up and out through the body, through the appendages, arms, legs, shoulders, neck, getting some movement throughout the body. So we're going to start with some breathing practice to start. So when you're in your comfortable space, find a comfortable seat that works best for you. You can be sitting cross-legged, such as I am, kneeling, or legs out in front of you. I advise at any point in this practice, if we come to something that you don't find comfortable, just stop and find something that works best for you, that allows you to move through that time and space where I'm doing something else, and you can provide yourself the movement that you need to feel expansive, to feel open, and keep moving forward. Remember, this is your practice in your space, and that is the beauty of doing these at-home classes together. So again, find that comfortable space, roll those shoulders up, back, and down. Again, as we breathe in, roll those shoulders up, back, exhaling out and down. And the fun part about doing it in your own space is you can be in your pajamas, you can be in your fancy yoga clothes, you can be doing it with your cat or your dog, wherever it is, and just have some fun with it. So breathing in, shrug those shoulders up past the point where it feels comfortable, and as you exhale, really soften, allow the neck to lengthen, the collarbones to drop, and let that heaviness in the heart just kind of dissipate down into the belly. Again, breathe in, pull it up, tuck, and as you exhale, allow the shoulder blades to roll down the back towards the hips. Let the arms be long on your thighs. We'll just take a few moments of centering breath here. So allow yourself to close your eyes. I will guide you through a few moments of breathing technique, and then we'll get up and move. So soften that gaze or close your eyes. Give yourself a moment to recognize where your breath is at this moment. Releasing tension along the jaw. Let your tongue just drift on the bottom of your mouth, as if it's a heavy weight into the bottom of your jaw. Unfurl those eyebrows, letting that space around the third eye, that center of focus, open and become clear. And let that softening come around the cheeks, down through the front of the throat, and across those collarbones. Each exhale allows the softening of the shoulders and the neck. Let that breath flow out of you either through nose or mouth. Let the eyes close gently, or just a nice soft gaze. And if it behooves you and it feels right, your head can loll, can roll gently from side to side, as long as it's not forced or pushed beyond its normal limits. And as you exhale this next time, bring your attention and focus to that space right behind your sternum. That nice strong bone right in the center of your chest. It's like the zipper for your ribs. Bring your attention to that sternum space, and if it feels good to you, you can go ahead and place 1 or 2 hands at that space, right on top of your heart. And we'll just take a couple breaths here. Many of us are feeling, like I said, very confined, very closed in. We're out of control of things outside of our homes. So let's bring it in for a moment before we go out. Keeping that gaze soft, those hands gently on the chest if it feels right for you. A nice solid breath in, letting your hands rise as your chest rises. And as you exhale, just put a little tiny bit of pressure down onto that sternum bone, almost like you're giving yourself a little hug. And again, as you breathe in, lift those hands away from the chest just lightly, as if you're pulling the heart forward. Exhale, give that soft, slow pressure. Feel your hand against your chest and let that energy, that intention move into your body of hugging, of holding. And then that expansion as you breathe in, as if you're drawing that breath out through the center of your chest. Getting your body to open from the heart center. Exhale, drop back in. Safety, confinement, closure, that little hug. And one more time, big breath in, open it up, open it up, open up. Let's let the arms float forward. And if you want to open your eyes, you can. Let the arms float forward like you're welcoming the world into your arms. And then allow those arms to float down by your sides, fingertips reaching to each side of you. Keep that open heart nice and tall, that throat nice and long, and rise up through your crown as you exhale, sinking down into the hips, into the seat. Let's begin a little movement with the arms, taking that left arm up again. Depending on where your shoulder range of motion is at, it might be lower, it might be just the elbow. But if you can and it feels good for you, let that left arm reach up to the sky while your right hand anchors you down. That opposition that we need to stay grounded, yet we continue to reach. Breathing into the side ribs, let your head lull towards the right, softening that right shoulder, elbow, and wrist. And as you exhale, let that body float back down. All the way down. Don't rush these movements, you guys. Take them nice and slow. Take that right hand up, reaching. Again, honor those shoulders, especially early in this practice. Where does that right arm compared to the left need to go? Reaching up and open and gently over the top, softening the left side down to the wrist. Let go of those shoulders. Let go of that breath, deeply held. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, float that arm down. And when I say float, let it just linger through the air as it floats back down to the floor. Let both hands connect to the earth, fingertips touching. And obviously, because of my videoing setup, you can't really see what my hands are doing, but you know what I'm talking about. Let those fingers anchor into the earth for a moment, pressing down through the fingertips. Use that energy to lift the heart a little higher, taking a nice big breath in. As you exhale, soften those shoulders. Let those hands completely come to the ground, tucking that chin, rolling that head forward. Inhale, open the heart, press through those fingertips, lifting the heart, almost like you're going to push yourself right off the mat. And exhale again, fall back into that heart space. Let your chest cave in, let those shoulders round forward, protective and cozy. Then bust up out of that cozy protective shell, push your limits just a little bit, big breath in, neck opening, crown reaching, fingers pressing. Exhale, soften one more time, back into that comfortable, cozy space. Soften the hands, let the hips roll down, let that head roll forward. And then come up gently, hands stay on the mat, lifting through the crown of the head, shoulders remain soft. And then just go ahead and wiggle it out. Maybe you need to adjust the feet or legs, go right ahead and allow yourself a little bit of side-to-side movement. If this is my spine, it's just flowing as my hips stay gently there. So just allowing that spine a little side-to-side action as we move into the side body. Hands can be by your sides, on your thighs or knees, whatever works for you. And if it feels right for you to go ahead and close your eyes, do so. But remember that breath is in one way and out the other. It's quite a windy day here in Minnesota yesterday, so maybe you want to channel some of that Minnesota breezes into your breath. As the trees were flowing in the wind yesterday, allow your spine to be just as smooth and supple as those branches in the wind. But our hips keep us grounded, just like the tree's roots. And then just let those shoulders move a little bit. I talked about expansion at the beginning of class, so we're going to start to move a little more big as we get up off the floor here in a few moments. And then if it feels right, just go ahead and let your arms flow out as if you're reaching out. Now, if that range of motion doesn't work for you, work with one that does, or have a little fun with it. Get a little jazzy, have a little fun, and then progressively reach overhead from the hip to the fingertips, from the hip to the fingertips, breathing in and out, and then forward, pushing, opening those palms. Big high five from the front row. There we go. Good. And then come back and in and hands on those hips and find that smooth center. And then put a little smile on your face. You just did a little yoga dance. Nice job. Let's go ahead and just stretch those legs out for a moment before we come on to all fours. As again, you can't see because of my setup here, but just allow those feet to kind of stretch in and out, bending the knees. If you need a little support from those hands, go right ahead. And then lengthen out those feet, pressing through the heels, shake out those thighs. Let's just do a couple seated forward folds here. Again, your range of motion depends a lot on how your low back and hips feel. Breathe in, coming up, lifting from the hips. Exhale, folding forward from the hips. Don't just drop your head around those shoulders, but let your hips bend gently. Yes, it's been a while since Julie's done her yoga too. Those hamstrings are tight. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold it forward. Have some fun with it. If you need to bend those knees, go right ahead. Exhale, tuck the chin at the bottom. Inhale, roll that spine up, taking those arms up one more time to the ceiling. Fingers reaching, and then that spine just rolls forward. And feel free to grab the feet, the ankles, behind the knees, behind the shins, wherever you're at, and just roll into that forward fold. And I mean roll. Allow those shoulders to come forward. Bend those knees just a little bit if it feels good. Tuck that chin lightly. And just come into that safe space. Deep breath into the ribs, feeling yourself expand through the sides, tucking that chin a little more as you exhale from the belly. And then drawing that spine up nice and strong from the hips to the shoulders to the top of the head. Let's go ahead and just tuck those knees in, hugging around the knees, grabbing behind the thighs, whatever works for your body in your space, and just give those knees a little hug. Good. Finding your way onto all fours. Again, if your knees or your wrists need a little extra support, go ahead and roll that mat over, grab an extra blanket if you've got one on your couch, and allow yourself that setup that works best for you as we come into all fours. Those hands are open underneath your shoulders, pressing into all 10 fingers, the knees right underneath those hips. Give that booty a little shake. Let that head roll a little from side to side and get that movement into that spine again, just like a snake, which my good friend just put on Facebook today, this beautiful picture of snakes coming out from their winter slumber. And if you're not a snake person, I respect that, but snakes have a lot to teach us if we just stop and pay attention, let alone the beauty of their smooth movement. So let that spine roll back and forth. And then find that quiet center right down the middle. Let the crown of your head reach to one side of the room, let the tailbone reach to the other, and just gently draw that belly up and in with a little bit of an exhale. Just making sure that spinal space is good. Hands are open, knees are relaxed underneath you. Cat-cow here, tipping that tailbone up and back. Letting the belly open towards the floor. That heart bursts through the front of the arms. And then lifting that head gently, breathe in. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under, send that belly button right up to the spine, press through the palms and tuck that chin nice and big. Get that cat. Woo! Maybe your cat's playing with you right now even. Inhale, tailbone rolls back up. Chin comes up and forward, big cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Exhale deeply from the belly. Let me hear you. Inhale, lift the heart. Expand the chest open, little at a time in this cat-cow. Exhale, tuck the chin, expand the back of the ribs, and it feels good. It'll put a little extra movement from side to side. Go right ahead. Remember, with gentle movement. And then come back into tabletop. Let's take a little bit of a child's pose here, sending the hips back to the heels, hands come forward. You can widen those knees if you need to. And allow that head to roll forward. Inhale, place those hands down, turning those toes under, going into downward facing dog, lifting those hips. Holy buckets, it's been a while, kids. Walk out those calves. Let those hips go to the sky. Let your head reach towards your hands, and let your calves do what they need to do. Remember to be gentle with yourself. I am. All joking aside, it feels good to move this way. Inhale, come back down. Exhale, back into child's pose. Rest those wrists. Let your head drop. Whew. Plant those hands. Inhale, turn those toes under. Exhale, lift those hips into down dog. Again, you can always do this with knees on the floor, hands expressing forward, puppy pose. But if you've got it in you to put that dog on the pound, go for it. Nice big lift of those hips. Open those hands, all 10 fingers. Draw those hips towards the ceiling. Hang out in downward dog with a nice smooth breath. Inhale, and as you exhale, child's pose one more time. Press the mat away with the hands. Shoot those hips towards the back wall. Let your head drop forward. This is where our expansion starts, on the floor. Inhale, come up, downward dog one more time. Turn those toes under, lift those hips, shoot them to the sky. Have a little fun with it. Shake out those heels. Move through those hips. Let your head dangle. And then gently looking towards the hand. You can step or hop. I'm going to let you decide depending on where you're at. Come into your gentle forward fold. Feet are hip width apart. Hip width apart. Pressing down through the foot in its hole. Let the head roll forward. Hands can be supported on the knees, the shins, or if you're at the floor, that's great. All of the above works for me as long as it works for you. Shake out the back of that neck. Stop looking at your camera for a minute and allow your body to roll into that forward fold that feels best. Knees are bent, knees are straight, arms are long, arms are held. This forward fold is all about you. Let it go. And then depending on where your hands are at, slide them up to the tops of your knees. Bend those knees and roll up that spine. Arching that middle back. Planting through those heels, squeezing up those legs, shooting those hands up to the ceiling. And you can't see me now. That's okay. My arms are to the ceiling. Lifting up and open. Exhale, bring those hands back and in. Roll into your forward fold. Small spaces, folks, small spaces. Let that head come down. Small spaces, big hearts. Let's open up, stack that spine, coming all the way up, reach to your ceiling. Say hi to your neighbor upstairs if you're like me and you live in an apartment. Exhale, coming down. Come into that safe space. Feet planted, let that spine roll forward. Fingers to the floor, to the shins, to the knees. Allow that head to hang. One more time, drag that body up, pressing through those heels, squeeze those glutes, stack that spine, arms reach, 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 reach. Let's grab our right hand with our left, reach it over. Grabbing that right wrist with the left hand, exhale, big open ribs here. We're planting through the feet, we're stretching across. Feels good. Inhale, reach those hands to the sky. Exhale, go the opposite way. Just that gentle stretch up the side body. Inhale, reach to the sky. One more time each side. Exhale over the top. If a little bit of a range feels better for you, coming forward or more to the back, you decide. Inhale, coming up. Nice and tall. Exhale, opposite side one last time. Again, range that feels good for your low back and your side body. Feet are planted. Soft little bend in those knees. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, let those arms float down and forward. Bring them to your heart for just a moment. Remember that little hug we gave to our heart? Let's go ahead and place those hands on our chest. We're up and strong now. Go ahead and take a big breath in. Rise those hands. Open that heart. Exhale. Compress just lightly. Give that heart a little bit of a hug. Remind yourself you are okay to be open and wide and a little out of control. Big breath in. Exhale, little heart. Breath, hug. This time, bring those hands up and open, expansive to the ceiling. Exhale, hands come back to center gently. I'm going to turn to the side here so we can see our standing practice begins. Anchoring down through those heels. Give a little squeeze to the glutes, nice and tall through the spine. I apologize for the video. You know what my head looks like. Good. Anchoring down into those legs. Little soft bend in those knees. Let's bring those hands open, mountain pose. Breath in, arms reach up and overhead. Exhale, hands come back to center. Let's step our left foot back into a warrior one feet. And warrior one feet, have our feet completely on the floor. Our heels are down, our toes are relaxed. Opening ourselves, little bend in that front knee. Open those arms up and open warrior one. From the front. Finding warrior one, front knee is gently bent, back leg is nice and strong, arms lifting to any angle that works for your shoulders. Big breath in, exhale as you do, bring those hands back to your heart, step forward, land those feet, breath in. Exhale to the opposite, step back, warrior one, opposite foot. Now remember, warrior one has both feet down completely. High lunge will have a heel up, so put those feet on the ground, be fully solid into those legs. Inhale, arms come up when you're ready, any angle, full expression of warrior one. Left foot is forward, right foot is back. We're letting that tailbone drop just lightly, drawing our belly button in, hearts open, big breath in. Exhale, hands come back together. Step back into mountain pose. Breath in. Opposite foot steps back, Julie. There we go. Opposite foot steps back. For those of you who have been in my yoga classes, you know that right and left, I miss them sometimes. Bending into a greater expression of warrior one. Arms come up when we're ready. Lifted heart, big breath here. Hold steady. Letting the hands come back to the heart. Stay where we're at. Press out to the sides like you'll high five the walls. Shoulders come down. Inhale, bring those hands back to the heart. One more time, open up. We're flying. Hands come back. Heart leads forward. Expansive and open chest. Inhale, come back to center. Step forward as you inhale. Find mountain pose. Opposite side, right foot steps back. Land into your warrior one. Feel those legs get strong. Express up and open. Inhale, come back to center. High five the walls. Push through those palms. Let your arms be strong. Let your core hold strong in the middle as you exhale. Inhale, coming back to center. Last time, big reach behind you. Hearts open, fingers spread. Inhale, come back to center. Step into mountain pose. Breath in. Exhale, warrior one, opposite foot. Nice strong expression here. If you notice, every time I step back, I go a little deeper because my hips are a little more open. You decide how far back that foot's going to go. But as you fall into that bigger expression of warrior one, we're still letting that same nice, strong, balanced base be there. Arms come up when we're ready, open-hearted. Take a little side. So I'm keeping my hands together, reaching overhead, tipping just a little to my left, pressing down into those feet. Inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, a little bit of a tip to the right. Anchoring into those feet. Inhale, come back to center. Hands come back down and in. Sit in warrior one. Hands at the heart. Remember, this is about expansion. So how big can we make ourselves as we open those arms to the side? Flip those hands coming up and overhead. And come back to your center. Let's repeat that one more time. Big breath in. Sweep those arms open. Clear that space in front of your heart. Reaching to the sides. Arms come up and overhead. And then come back to center as we exhale. Breath in, carefully step forward, pressing off that back foot, landing into mountain pose. Take a full breath here. Inhale, step back, big expression, warrior one legs. Coming up. Arms reaching, hips anchored a little to your right. Side body opening, arms are lengthening, fingers are reaching. Come back to your center. A little to your left. Feeling those legs, maybe want to travel, maybe get in balance, press down into those big toes, cross to the pinky toe, come back to center, hands come to the heart, anchor into those legs, and then expand those arms, open that heart. Inhale, come up. Exhale, come back to center. Legs haven't moved, so keep those legs nice and strong. Expand those arms, big push, like you're throwing the doors open. Finally, when we get out of quarantine, we will throw those doors open and they will fly off the hinges. Inhale, coming up. And then we will bring all that beautiful energy into our hearts. Inhale, step forward, land for a full breath. Moving on to a little standing flow. Take that left foot back, opening the hips into warrior two. Warrior two has our feet lined up, give or take. I always remind my classes that we want to move within our range. Feels like I haven't moved in my range for a while, so find yourself into warrior two feet. My hips and my shoulders are basically facing the side of my mat. My knee and my toe are in a good range together, and I can really sink into those hips, and it feels good to sink into those hips. Yes, let your body be open at the hips. There's a lot of expression and energy and emotion that comes out of the hips, so allow yourself to feel into that. Once those legs feel good, take a breath here. Just be at one with your legs. Find that breath. Then we will serve those hands forward. Here you go. And then open those arms to the sides. As I open them to the sides, my shoulder blades are squeezing together. Keep the whole upper back active. Coming into traditional warrior two for another breath. Feel free to gaze off that front hand. Another softening of the shoulders as you exhale. Pressing down through both feet. Pressing out through both sets of hands. Sets of hands, how about sets of fingers? And then rise through that crown right to the sky. Warrior two, nice and strong. Let's take reverse warrior. Front hand flips up towards your ceiling. Back hand checks in with that back thigh, nice and strong. And we open that front body from hips to fingertips. This is all about big and expansive, so make yourself big. Send your energy out through the fingers, through the feet, through the heart. Stop confining even in your space. Exhale, come back to warrior two. One more time, reverse warrior, breath in, open and express. Exhale and soften into those shoulders, release your jaw. Inhale, and as you exhale, come back to warrior two. Side angle, resting that arm on the front leg. If you have the range of motion to go to the floor, that's fine, but please don't force that. That is a deep, deep bend into the hip, so take it where it lies. I'm going to go arm on the leg here, and then that top hand, again, range of motion can go up to the sky or way overhead. That angle from fingers all the way down to the toes. Whoosh, big and expansive. Relax those fingers on the bottom. Breath in, heart opens. Show me your hearts, people. I want to see them. Soften those shoulders, relax the jaw. Gazing out across the room. If you're lucky enough to be looking out a window right now, wherever you're at, let that breath flow like the trees, like the breeze in the trees. Coming up, reach, 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 reach. Don't move those legs, let those arms find warrior two. Inhale. Inhale, turn those feet to the side. My feet are at about 10 and 2 on the clock. Wide straddle, arms match those legs, big heart open. Exhale, find those thighs with your hands. How about that? And come into a little bit of a side to side, opening the base of the hips, inner thighs. You can stay right here in this forward fold, or those hands can come to the floor. And I'm just shifting my weight from side to side, just getting some movement in those knees, in those hips. You can pick those feet up. Again, this is all about expansion and opening. So hell, if you want to move and groove and have a little fun with this, go right ahead. I can't see you, but I'm imagining you're having a hell of a good time over there, shaking that booty, moving those hips, rocking out those shoulders as we transition to the opposite side. So from here, I'm going to let what was once my front foot turn in slightly. I'm going to shift that other foot towards the edge of the mat, and I'm going to roll up my spine, coming into warrior two, legs on the opposite side. It's my favorite way to transition between the sides of warrior two. It's a little bit of a deeper bend into those hips. Soften those shoulders, check in with those thighs, recognizing our range might be